Hey everybody, welcome back to Nature's Calls. I'm your host, as always, Nature Erdman, and I haven't been able to record much lately. At least had some technical difficulties on one video, ended up just throwing it away, and then I went on vacation for a couple days. So now I'm back, and I'm excited to record for you guys again. And I mean, we haven't had a whole lot of shakeup lately, nothing too crazy going on. So I just want to talk kind of about my opinions of what we kind of heard coming out of minicamp, um, OTAs, and just kind of where things stand right now. Some positives, some negative, mostly positives. But there's a little bit of negatives going on out there, so we'll save that for last. But first, I want to talk about the interviews that just came out today, and with Trey Harris and Rondé Gadsden, because those inspired quite a bit of hope for me. They're two players. Trey Harris, I have just incredibly high expectations for as a player, both because of our need and then also just him as a prospect. I was a huge fan of Trey as a prospect coming out, and was kind of my guy that I hung my hat on before the draft came, and sure enough, we actually got him, which is kind of insane. Now I understand how the doctor and or the director and everybody else felt last year when we drafted Ladd. So feels pretty cool to get your guy like that. So kind of exciting for me just to see him talk about the way that things have gone right now. I also feels like he's studied Chargers fans a little bit because he definitely felt like he was saying all the right things, but maybe not because it all came off very natural. Didn't feel staged or manufactured in any way. But talking about the velocity that Justin Herbert throws with, I think it was Popper who asked it actually, and you hear him just say, well, I catch with my hands. I'll catch everything. If it's on the money, which it always is with Justin Herbert, I'll catch everything. Um, it was really nice to hear. Also, obviously, I've seen mostly in reps or in camp breakdowns him kind of working with the second team, which is to be expected. He's a rookie. Um, he's not going to immediately get first team reps, but sounds like they've been getting some reps with Herbert, which is nice for that chemistry building. So I was kind of excited to see that. I did just overall just respect his kind of genuinity, the way that he kind of spoke. I always kind of not to ever judge people, but if people interview poorly, like it makes sense, like why I don't know. Obviously, with the product on the football field is one thing, but with how much Harbaugh and the staff talk about the way that guys present themselves in interview mattering so much, and we saw it last year. Everybody is very kind of pleasant at the podium when you see interviews with them. Same thing with Trey Harris in today's press conference as well. So just kind of speaking on what he saw with from Justin Herbert and the moment he got onto a field with him, he just knew it was different. Um, Great attention to detail in addition to just his actual physical traits as well. Something we've kind of seen as a trend. Comparing him to Kyle McCord was kind of funny, but got to shout out your teammate, so I don't blame him on that. But the big one and the longer interview that I saw was the Rondé Gadsden one. And Gadsden, I've been pretty vocal about like tempering expectations just as a fifth round pick, but it's also someone that I'm trying not to get overly excited about because I value the tight end position so much. I mean, I've been a Chargers fan my whole life. We have two top 10, top six tight ends of all time are Chargers. So it's hard not to get a little bit romantic about the position, especially as two players who really kind of rejuvenated and brought to life the pass catching tight end. It feels weird being a Chargers fan without a top tier pass catching tight end. Like that's just part of who we are in my mind, and not having one, in addition to the offensive struggles that we've had, is kind of sucked. Um, so that was one thing I was really I'm holding out hope for that we can find. And that's part of the reason I've been okay with going and acquiring a Kyle Pitts or drafting a tight end early in the draft. That's why I've wanted that. Is because I feel like it's a core part of who we are as a team. I love having one. But if Rondé Gadsden can turn into that for us, that would be phenomenal. We all know his capabilities as a wide receiver, but I was surprised by quite a bit in his press conference. First of all, his size. I felt like when I watched him like game tape, he felt a little bit slight for his size, which we knew. Like he converted from wide receiver to tight end. He looked big at the podium, really big. I think he was at like 255. Like for a rookie coming in, that's It's pretty solid size just now getting into an NFL program. And honestly, not only that, I don't know how much he conditioned for pre-draft things with the injuries and stuff that he's had. Probably not a whole lot, but still, it was really impressive to see him kind of carrying that much size. Hopefully, it's all healthy size, but sounds like it is by the way he's been working out with Herb and everything else. Um, also, just his humbleness, like he might with his dad being in the NFL, maybe he's had a little bit of media training and preparation for this, but man, he was quick and ready for every single answer, especially at the start of the interview. But it was super kind of impressive. And even just little things like what has he shown to the coaching staff and everything through this phase of OTAs and just being straightforward and humble about the situation, like in my work ethic. I haven't been able to show much without pads and stuff like that, not just showing that he can go out there and catch the ball, not speaking to his skills that we know that we drafted him for and everything else, but speaking to him as a person. And then on top of that, the full 5:30 thing, the whole him showing up for a guy in the building, showing up at 5:30 every day. Just seeing it be posted on X and everybody talking about it felt like it was a little bit more, I don't know, not manufactured. That's not the word I want to use, but kind of highlighted and focused upon by him. And then when I went back and actually watched the interview, like he mentioned it, and then they kept asking questions about it. But if there's any, he shied away from any personal, this is what I've been trying to do to earn respect and yada, yada, yada. There was none of that. Absolutely none of that. And so talking about how anybody could be there. Security guys are there, the staff's there, like anybody could be there at any given day. He's not always the first one there. And then when they ask specifically the only one on the field when he's doing these walkthroughs, I mean, it could be usually, but not always. Like just the humbleness to do that, especially coming from an NFL family, the expectations that are around you, everything else, and just the way that he kind of presented himself. Like, I know I have a lot to learn. I need to get these additional mental reps, and getting here early since I'm already awake is a good way to do it. And talking about just how he doesn't want to be a liability to the team, essentially. He wants to not have the coaching staff have to give him any additional attention or guidance. He wants to be able to pick up everything fast enough to be able to go hit the ground running. He knows that he's a rookie. He knows that that's all going to be a learning curve. But it seems like he truly wants to be great. And then without saying that he's out here trying to be like, no, it's just, he was very humble in everything that he kind of spoke about. Um, and then even when they asked about what it's like to be in a room with Conk and Disley, and one of the first things he said, like obviously he praised them first, but he's like, well, don't forget Tucker. He talks about Tucker Fisk and how much he's done well and how many strengths he has that he'd like to be able to learn and pick up from. Um, and then on top of that, at the end, he goes through the entire tight end room, talking about like every undrafted free agent guy that's right there with him, competing for a roster spot, trying to take his job away from him. Nothing but praise, nothing but praise. And I was just super impressed. Um, and I think it speaks a lot to the type of person that the Chargers truly are trying to draft. And it's not just all smoke and mirrors and kind of playing into the Harbaugh type of guy thing. Like I think it's genuine at this point. We've seen enough of it. And then on top of that, just Harbaugh's comments that he's made about this might be the hardest working rookie class he's ever been around. And not to say that they have the skill and talent that Ladd McConkey and Joe Alt have to go be like top 15 players at their position as rookie years. Like he's not saying that, but just the work ethic based around it, which can be a lot of smoke and mirrors. He is so pro player empowerment that all of that could have just been conversation or rhetoric, just that he's just trying to push like, hey, I love my guys. Like it'd be very Harbaugh-y to do. But no, like for them to, at least the way that I perceived their interviews, I like to consider myself a decent judge of character. And so I was really impressed by both of those press conferences from two guys that I either have extreme expectations for or extreme high hopes for without as much expectation. If both of those guys turn into studs, I will be a very, very happy man. Now let's talk a little bit about the offensive line. So let's talk about Slater first. So Rashawn's not there. That sucks. Um, It's nice to see him show up for media day. It seems like most things are cordial, but he's not practicing, which tells me that we might not be that close to an extension. Um, and that frustrates me quite a bit. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just, I get that it's a difficult contract to work out because of injury guarantees and everything else. But I've been harping on this for a while. I talk about why successful franchises stay successful franchises, and it's because they pay their stars early. I get the injury concern, but like this is Joey, and I feel like Herbert lasted longer than it should have. Not long, but longer than it should have. Um, Derwin took a while. There was another one in there that took a while, I swear. And so it's just frustrating to me that we're getting to this point in contract negotiations, to where we're even putting ourselves in a position for a player to miss part of camp and have to hold out. Um, it's like we've lost $10 million, $8-ish million per year on Rashawn Slater's contract by not extending him 12 months ago. We lost, yeah, yeah. If we're going to sign him to a 4-year contract, which I fully expect us to, you're talking $32 million in cap space that we've lost. Now, would we have had to extend him down the road or restructure, negotiate? I don't know. Probably. Who cares? The point is, and I know we're not a poverty franchise, but there is certain behaviors that reflect that. And with the injury history, I don't totally knock the reasoning behind not extending him super early. But when you get to this point in the offseason, you've talked about the tip of the spear. You've talked about what's going to be your focus. You know you can't just find all pro left tackles on the side of the road. It's a little bit frustrating for me at this point that we've even gotten here. This is the one time I'm really sitting here like let's back our put stand on business. Put your money where your mouth is. If the offensive line matters that much. If Justin Herbert matters that much to your franchise. If everything that you say about just protect him and the offensive line is a weapon and the running game is a weapon, really the only things they've ever focused on as a as a front office and the things that they talk about is we need to protect Justin Herbert. He's our future, he's our franchise. We need to protect him through the offensive line. Offensive line is a weapon and the running game makes everything go. All of that is built around Rashawn Slater. Why is this man not extended? So, yeah, I'm not. I know I got on a rant there. I'm not like freaking out, pissed off, but I'm really frustrated at this point. It's gone beyond like a dang, I wish it was done. Like, come on, what are we doing at this point? Come on, get it done, please. Let's talk about something a little more positive, at least for me. I didn't want to finish on a negative thing, so that's why I got Rashawn Slater out of the way. Um, Zion Johnson. Now, I know that this isn't positive for most people, but here's my thought process. And I've been kind of on this hill for a while now. What if Zion Johnson's not that bad? I don't think he's not. I don't think he's that bad. We're going to do two things here. First, I want to talk about the lack of continuity that we've had on the offensive line, how important the center position is for continuity amongst the interior offensive line. Um, the offensive scheme changes that we've had, the difficulty that we've had at running back, like everything plays into success as an offensive lineman. Now, he's had incredible flashes every year of his career. He was significantly more consistent in his first year under Lombardi. 2023 was trash. 2023, he was a mess. 2023, everyone was a mess. 2023 was a very weird, confusing year overall for the Chargers offense. That's how we ended up with the top 5 pick. And then this year, they've talked a lot about that they couldn't run their offense to the fullest extent. Like in some way, shape, or form throughout multiple interviews, they've made little comments about basically the offense being dumbed down. Now, maybe that's a little bit of just deflection because they know that the offense was terrible and predictable and embarrassing. But they might be the team was patchwork together last year. Let's not forget that. And so when I sit here and look back, um, on what that team looked like, Bozeman at center, Pip at right guard, the issues that we had amongst the entire interior offensive line, First full, for the most part, full season, really sitting next to Rashawn Slater because it wasn't Rashawn hurt. I'd have to look back on it. He had to have played healthy one of those years. I'm gonna scratch that part, but I don't know. I've seen enough flashes and I've seen enough strength from him that I think I could see it working out. Now here's where the catch 22 comes. I almost prefer the idea of him playing center, and I know people hate it. I know people want him off the team at this point. Well, he's cost controlled. He was a 17th overall pick. He's still talked about by the coaching staff in an extremely high regard. He's known for being one of the, if not the smartest guy on the team. Um, and his size and stature and build lean really well to center. Now, what matters at the center position? Being able to hold the anchor and being extremely intelligent. So if he can figure out how to play the position, the physical tools are all prototypical and perfect for a center. And this is really all it comes down to for me. At this point, the odds of him turning into what we all thought and hoped he was going to be and he was drafted to be, which is a Pro Bowl or All Pro left guard, the odds of that are no longer high. I feel like there's likely some better odds of him becoming an All Pro or Pro Bowl center. Now, if he becomes better than Bradley Bozeman, it's an upgrade at the position. Yes. If he becomes legit at the position, that is 4 top tier possible Pro Bowl caliber players along the offensive line. Yes, it leaves a gaping left guard hole that right now appears to be Bradley Bozeman's job if Zion wins center. That sucks. I don't love Andre James at guard either. Branson Taylor, I think, is going to get a legit shot. I think it's part of the reason we brought him in is to give us some flexibility. Is he going to be ready to start in the NFL day one? Probably not. But one major hole along the offensive line versus 2 weak spots along the offensive line sounds better to me. Doesn't it sound better to you? Send help. Like, have the guy, like, figure it out. You can scheme around one bad spot. You can't really scheme around 3. We saw that last year. It's horrendous. Can't really scheme super well around 2. Shit. Send Scotty Matlock. Send Steve O'Klotz. I don't give a shit who you spend. Send Will Disley. Just plug up that hole right there along whoever's playing left guard. Works for me. Or, obvious preference, look at our cap space. Go get someone. Go get Martinez. Like, go get someone outside of Martinez, which you're really gambling on the health and everything else. But he was playing like a top 15 guard or something before he got injured. And not only that, outside of that, there's a million veterans out there that are solid, that are probably better starting guards than Bradley Bozeman, who hasn't played the position in like 6 years, but has been actively playing in the NFL because he can't play guard. And so it feels like not only that, like if Zion completely shores up the center position or does a heck of a job, puts us at a top 15, fucking top 20. I don't give a shit. If he's a top 20 center in the NFL, you can go fill the left guard spot. Some way, shape, or form, you can address the weaknesses there by scheme or by going and picking up a player that you need to fill that hole. One hole is way better than 2, even if the hole's a little bit bigger. I promise you, the offensive line will function better. And again, I don't think Zion Johnson is everything that he's knocked on. I mean, what was he last year? I had these numbers pulled at some point from a video I made before. 47th overall guard, 61st in pass blocking, 55th in run blocking. 2023 was trash. 2022, he was top 40 in overall ranking, top 20 in run blocking, really bad in pass blocking. So, yes, pass protection is going to be an issue. Will he play better at the center position? Possibly. He's always been a solid run blocker. You have to remember there's 64 starting guards in the NFL. So being ranked 47th is not bad. It's not excellent, but it's not bad. And if he transitions well to center, where he would still have elite physical traits, and it solves any of these major issues, especially, and the biggest thing I think of is his intelligence that's talked about. Like that is critical for the center position. If there's one thing we all know Justin Herbert doesn't like is stupid centers, because it's the only person we've ever seen him scream at, man. Like, I don't love that Bradley Bozeman's taking first team reps in training camp right now and in mini camp. But I really think that the opportunity has been given to Zion. They don't seem to even be running him that much at left guard. So they're really saying, like, hey, are you going to be our starting center? Because they know if they transition him left to get back to left guard, that's the position he's going to have. Like no one else on that roster, I think, is going to beat out Zion Johnson for that position. Zion Johnson for that position. I don't know why I'm saying that so weird today. But like we know that that is how that's going to go. If no one else takes the left guard spot, it's his. Or if he doesn't take the center spot, left guard spot's his. Now, what happens if he wins the center spot? Y'all want your opportunity for a shakeup? I think that's it. Y'all want Bradley Bozeman out of your lineup? You better hope for Zion at center because that's the only way you're getting it. Or injury. Or massively terrible performance through like 10 weeks. And then we might try Andre James. But I really don't hate the idea. And honestly, at this point, throw something at the wall and see what sticks. Because we need to get an upgrade there. Bradley Bozeman is very much a vocal captain of this team. Jim Harbaugh's made that very clear. It's a lot easier to bench a guy who's vocal captain of your team because he's changing positions. And you're putting in your first round pick from 3 years ago. Like that feels much more approachable and needable. And I just honestly think Zion Johnson has the chops to play the position. Be curious to see how everything shakes out over the rest of training camp. But I just would not be surprised if that's the direction that they go. And again, who are you going to go out and sign at center? When we signed Andre James, who is in no position right now to win the starting spot, he was by far the best center on the market. There is 4 left guards right now that we can sign that would be an upgrade over whoever we want to throw in left guard. Branson Taylor, probably. Bradley Bozeman, I'd say 95%. Andre James, yeah, 100. Like it's no matter who you, there's guys on the market that you can go get to address these positions. The entire interior offensive line was bad last year. Everyone was horrible in the Houston game. We can't pin that much of it on Zion Johnson. The center position, and especially if all 3 positions terrible, like they're all going to look bad in conjunction with each other. When I watch Zion Johnson play, he's not at all what we expected to draft with a first round pick, 17th overall. But he doesn't look like he doesn't belong in the NFL. He doesn't look totally washed. And I think that that's worth continuing to invest into. Um, the only other spot, let's get off the offensive line. The only other spot I'm concerned about still is corner. Um, and mostly because I'll never have faith in the cornerback room for the Chargers. Um, there's so many times over the last 10 years that I thought we were going to fix the cornerback room with Jason Verrett. We all know what happened there. Asante Samuel just did not go according to plan. J.C. Jackson definitely did not going according to plan. And so the off-season training camp hype just really doesn't move it for me. I've watched BSJ, Ben St. Just, enough tape in Washington, and I scrounging for anything impressive. It's easy to find bad tape all over the place for him. I don't want him starting. Like, go get someone. Go get someone. And, like, even if it's just the same caliber player as Dante Jackson, even if it's just your 4th corner, Cam Hart's injury history isn't to be trusted. Any of those other guys can get injured, and it can't be trusted. I don't trust Ben St. Just. I want him to be cornerback 5. That's all it comes down to for me. And there's just too many injuries out there. Go get one of them. Go get Jair. Go get. Oh my God, I'm spaced on his name. I've been saying his name for months now. Buffalo Bills. Douglas? Oh my God. Buffalo Bigs, corner. Russell Douglas. Jesus. Sorry about that. Go get Russell Douglas. Even like I still think he pushes Dante Jackson down, but go get another guy and make me feel better about that room. Um, on a positive note in the quarterback room, though, man, he looks good, and I love the growth from Lad, and I love that they could be a true shadow fun matchup where iron really sharpens iron because everybody wants to label Tarheeb as a nickel corner, but he can play on both sides. He can play on the outside as well. Same thing with Lad. Everybody calls him a slot corner, but he can play anywhere. And so I think that's really going to be a fun iron sharpens iron battle and continue to see where that grows. And so I'll probably do an updated 53-man roster projection um, right at the start of mandatory camp sometime around there as we get a little bit more information out from here. Um, and just kind of see where the projections are kind of going from that direction. But yeah, couldn't be more excited about what I've seen from the rookie class. Concerned but hopeful from what we've seen from the offensive line side of things. Um, and then on the defensive side of the football, I just think I stand in the exact same spot that I did prior. Jesse Minter is going to cover up a lot of issues. The top two, possibly three of our cornerback room could be very good, but we've seen most of them with Jesse Minter already. We've seen Cam Hart and Tarheeb still. Our concerns aren't their level of play, it's the injury history and then what depth we have behind it. And then on top of that, I don't think we have as strong of a pass rush this year as we did last year. So those issues in the secondary are going to be exponentiated if we don't get stronger on that backside. Now, our linebackers are phenomenal. Our safeties are phenomenal. They'll be able to cover up a lot as well and help. Um, but those two aspects, just our quality of corner and depth, and then our kind of possible decline unless Thule takes a big step forward. And Kyle Kennard is better than I expect in year one, specifically year one. Um, I do have a little bit of concerns on that side of things. So I don't want to pay the price for another top tier pass rusher. I don't think that that's necessary, even though I do think we slid back a little bit in the quality of the edge room this year. I think the better way to address that is go get higher end cornerback play. Ramsey, Jair Alexander, to be cool and all, but like even just go get me a Russell Douglas. Just give me something to shore up that back end, and I would feel swell about it. Um, Outside of that, yeah, go Bolts. We are 12 weeks till NFL kickoff. If my math's right, I think we're like right there, boys and girls, which means we've only got to be a few weeks away from the Hall of Fame game and really getting some type of Chargers viewership happening. So I could not be more excited. I hope you guys are all as excited as I am. Um, I'll be making these videos a little bit longer like this moving forward. Uh, just kind of going a little bit more towards my YouTube audience. I'm on Spotify now as well for anybody who wants to listen there. And just kind of transition to a little bit longer videos. That's what I like to listen to when I listen to my Chargers podcast. So I want to try and kind of bring the same thing to you guys and let me know if you like the longer video format or how you guys want me to kind of pivot things from there. But anyway, as always, these are Nature's Calls. I'm your host, Nature Erdman, and I appreciate you guys tuning in today. And go Bolts! Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please give me a follow on Twitter or X at Erdman Chargers. Or if you're not already there, go ahead and hop over to my YouTube channel, like or subscribe at Nature's Calls Pod. Thanks for listening.